Jesus Christ.
Who?
Jesus Christ.
Who?
Jesus Christ.
Who did you say?
Jesus Christ.
Who are you talking about?
Jesus Christ.
You think his mother named him Jesus?
Yeah, exactly. This guy, he's talking about Jesus. Who's Jesus?
Jesus Christ.
No, Jesus is Greek.
No.
There's no J. In Aramaic, his name's not Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
It's Yeshua.
Name.
You don't even know Jesus' name.
Jesus Christ.
Go look it up. Look it up. Have a good one.
Okay.
Oh, we had a good laugh at his expense. This, whatever his name, what's his name? Muhammad? Yeah. Jesus. Who's Jesus? It's not Jesus, it's Yeshua. It's not Isa, it's Yeshua. Come on. Let's get it right. Jesus didn't speak English. He didn't speak Greek. Well, he might have. He definitely didn't speak Arabic. So it's not Jesus. There's no J. But in all seriousness, let's see what he wanted to say about Jesus. Anyways, let's keep going.
Jesus Christ saying that he's God himself doesn't appear to be really in the Bible in very clear terms.
No, it's very clear. You have to start with the theological framework of the prophets that they presented as who Yahweh is, except what God says about himself. One of that being in Isaiah, God refers to himself as the first and the last. You can even go to the Quran and look up that term, first and the last, and that is a reference to Allah. It's basically an understanding that has to do with God's eternality, his eternal state. He's also sovereign over all things, the creator of all things, and he will always exist. This is what Jesus claimed of himself, that he was eternally existent, that he always existed, and that he will always exist. But even clearer, when Jesus revealed to his apostles, specifically John, a message to relay to the churches, Jesus said in his visitation to John, in his visit to John, Jesus said, I am the first and the last in the book of Revelation. So you can go ahead and try to deny the clarity of the claim that Jesus was God, but it's there and it's clear. Christians don't use the Bible to prove Jesus' deity. They believe he is God because the Bible presents Jesus as God, and we believe the scriptures are the revelation from God. And so any later revelation after the New Testament, after the apostles, that tells anything differently, any story differently than what God has revealed about himself through his son Jesus Christ, is to be flatly rejected as false. And that's why we reject Islam. We reject the Quran as being revelation from God, because it straight up denies Jesus as being who he said he was. And so it's not a matter of, well, it's not very clear, it's not really spelled out, it's there.
Him saying that I am God of worship, it doesn't clear to be in the Bible. And if you are going to say the Gospel of John has some of those references, well, the Gospel of John is a very late reference itself. So the idea that he said that about himself is not something we even grant you, frankly.
Well, one, we don't care what you grant us. I mean, honestly, nobody cares what you grant Christians. You don't get to dictate revelation. And by the way, your hadiths came hundreds of years after the life of your prophet. So we're not going to grant you any hadith. You don't get any of them. We're not going to grant you a single one. Okay? And we look at the Quran as suspect, one, because it denies the theology of the scriptures, the revelation of Jesus Christ, and two, because we have no way of affirming its message, because you guys standardized it. We don't know if it really is what your prophet gave, and if God really did reveal it through a true mediator as an angel. I mean, the scriptures tells us that Satan himself can transform himself into an angel of light. And so there's so many reasons why we just cannot accept as valid any claim coming from the Quran.
But according to us, he didn't say that. And yes, it is sacrilegious for us to believe that Jesus wasn't God. But it's also sacrilegious for you to believe that he is God. And so the same exact argument applies both ways.
No, so technically, if you claim to be a Christian and deny the deity of Christ, then that is heresy. And sure, it's sacrilegious. It is sacrilegious to claim that a man became a god, and so we deny any claim that, like Mormons make, that men can become gods. But when it comes to Islam, that's simply pointed out as being a false religion. And if you were born into it and raised being taught this, we can't really blame you for being taught misinformation about Jesus. However, you have the obligation, every individual, to seek out the truth, especially when you come to age where you can discern right from wrong and you come to understand that there is a reality out there that is the cause of all reality. And if he is out there somewhere, is he known? Did he make himself known? And am I going to answer to him? And there's a lot of people who present concepts of God, and you have to weigh all your choices. But if you seek the one true God, he will be made known of you. Like many of the Muslims that we work with have come to know the one true God, not simply by studying the scriptures. Yes, they've come to the knowledge of Christ by coming to understand the truth of the reality of what the scriptures teaches, but many of them, this seeking was initiated by a figure appearing to them in a dream. I could spend all night telling you stories, firsthand accounts that I've heard, and then accounts I've had relayed to me by others who were firsthand witnesses to these events, of Muslims who have had visions and dreams of someone appearing to them, telling them to follow Jesus, the Messiah, to seek out the truth in the scriptures, to seek out a church and look for the reality of who Jesus is. The Jesus that is presented in the Quran is false. And we can say that confidently